Everyone, thank you so much for being here for our annual meeting tonight. We are grateful for your time and energy tonight, and we're looking forward to some updates and setting the stand for the coming year. So, thank you again for being here. I am Beth Chambers, your outgoing co-president, and I'm excited to welcome you and also just kick us off this evening. So you are welcome to finish eating your dinners. Especially those of you who just got somewhere a few minutes ago, sorry about that. Hopefully everyone has what they need. If you need another water or anything, please feel free to jump up and grab another from the cooler. We are going to kick things off tonight with a few just quick updates from some of our board members who are committee chairs who are going to help share just a little bit about what their teams have been up to and how things are going on their front. We are going to kick things off with Cindy Kelly, who is the chair of our communications committee.
So yes, I am Cindy Kelly, and I'm the one behind the scenes, and I'm not alone. I have a team. My co-chair is Britton, whose last name now escapes me because this is how it goes. See, when you only see people's names in writing and, you only think of their Twitter handles, So I have this problem because I'm in communications, and the communications team for the League of Women Voters is responsible for, of course, recording the event by photo, maybe some video, as you saw in this compilation from our year, but also then putting that out to share our story, because if you know our story, you see, oh my gosh, this is the best group of people. I want to be involved with these people and do these things because they look so fun. And then we also want to get out the word about what we're going to do next. So then you go, oh my gosh, they're going to do something next week, next month, next season, and then it just cycles through, because then we do the thing, we record the thing, we put it out, and it's a whole cycle. It's not that complicated, but there's a lot of moving parts. So if you like to be behind the scenes and doing these things, and the attention to detail, maybe you write, maybe you like to tell stories, maybe you like to be in front of a camera or behind the camera, any of these things, you are welcome to be on our team, because we would love to have you. If I use it like a minute. If anyone has any questions, I would be happy to answer your questions.
Tell them about the new website.
One of our big projects this year was to move from a WordPress site to the Club Express platform, because it provides a lot of benefits to our league behind the scenes to help the functioning of the league and keep it efficient so people can work as volunteers without doing so much work on that tedious stuff, But with that awesome platform comes a website. So we moved from WordPress to this website. There's a bunch of work, but we hope to be here for the long haul. So it's kind of like, the front of your house has its curb appeal, and then there's a whole rest of your house where you do your business. So that's what our website is like now, and we really look forward to everyone checking it out and getting into the after the house and doing your business.
And we'll have house tours later about the web.
Yes, we do have a whole thing about the website coming up.
Has the logo changed?
I don't think so.
Or is that a temporary logo that's on Facebook?
Oh, on Facebook, yes. For the month of June, we have the entire League of Women Voters has a plethora of Pride-related logos to choose from. So we just picked it for June. August 1st, you'll see, July 1st, because calendars are hard. You'll see return of the previous profile picture. Do you have a question?
I have a statement.
Oh, dear.
The League of Women Voters is not for women only.
Huzzah, that is absolutely true.
Men equality are not threatened by women and equal.
Yes. Any other questions for Cindy?
It's okay if you don't. I'm fine.
Well, I'd like to ask for a round of applause for Cindy and her team.
For keeping us all informed about what's going on and engaged with the community. So thank you, Cindy. The next group that we're going to ask to come up and share is our voter services team. So Carol Neal is our voter services chair. Is going to come up and share about what's been going on with them.
I'm Carol Neal, and my co-chair is Barbara Bell, and she's not here tonight. And a lot of you are on the Voter Service Committee, and we meet every third Tuesday of every month on Zoom. And we'll probably stay on Zoom for a while since we will. This past month has been awesome, and we're doing a little bit more. Voter service has always been voter registration and voter education. And we've not done much with advocacy because we are nonpartisan and we have to walk that very fine line. And so we have this amendment coming up that is not partisan. It is a position that the league, national, state, and local, we support. So we look a little bit different out there in the trenches this last month. We've been working with the Women's March women on just helping them distributing signs, getting information out. I put information on a table back there. We want everybody to know they can vote in this August election. So that has been our mission. That is our mission until August the 2nd, to tell everybody that they can vote in this election if they're registered by July 12th. We have been at Mom's events, we've been with the Power events, we have some events coming up with Sunflower Action, the IRC. We have been at Larksfield at the senior, with the independent living, and Barbara and I went there during the afternoon because a former member, or she is a member, Pat Sloop, invited us, and her daughter is Melanie Jenny. So when I went, and there were several people there that had been previous leaders, and there was one lady, and I can't remember her name, but she registered at the national naturalization ceremonies with Minnie. You remember her?
Brown.
Yeah, well, who was with her. She had a picture of her and Minnie, and she went to get it and show us. So it was, in an hour's time, we checked, 25 people's voter registration, changed their addresses, re-registered them, and got them, applications in for a permanent advance ballot. Any of you that want to work on things like that, they're very low key and they're fun. I mean, you get so much out of those. Naturalization ceremonies, we didn't do one this month because it was in Dodge City. And we were going to try and go, we went previously, but getting together to go to Dodge City on a Tuesday is a long old trip, so we didn't make that one. So, like I say, registering and educating voters is what we do. We've been at the Badass Women group. We gave a session on civility, and that was really not, that was to teach us, as well as the people there, how to have discussions in the civility, civil manner. It was kind of interesting because sadly, most of the people that came were of like minds, so we had to find issues that they didn't agree with, somewhere there so that they could have that discussion. I used that yesterday. It was really interesting to take All you have to do is take 3 minutes and listen to somebody and why they think the way they do. Repeat it back to them, and then ask them to listen to you and your position. And you really do find something somewhere you can agree on. You're not going to change people's minds, but at least it's people talking. Ernestine,
When are the signed ups coming up that are for voter registration? If somebody here wants to help with voter registration.
we send out the events by email, that's what we've been doing. This next week, we'll be sending out for the bus. These events are coming quickly. We're not being able to take a month or two to plan out our schedules like we used to. I will get a call or an email that says, hey, can you be there next Saturday? We just ended up with 2 events on the 9th of July. July is a women's march, an actual march downtown at 10 o'clock in the morning. And that whole movement is mushrooming like crazy. But on that same day, we were asked to be back at the center, which is a neighborhood block area that we supported this last Saturday, that they're having a health fair and they want us there to register voters. So I was sending out at least the week before to get volunteers. Ideally, we can take 2 or 3 minutes to plan our events. It's not happening.
Well, I have to guess here, I'm trying to convince them they not only should join the League of Women Voters, but help them with voter registration.
Yeah.
So,
The naturalization, we have a naturalization ceremony next month. I think it's on the 3rd Friday. So look at that. Cover that, yes. What? To register, I can train you in 5 minutes.
I can train her in 4.
We are not registering by
Yeah.
paper. Okay, we're still not registering by paper. What we're doing is taking our, where is it? QR codes, and if we have Wi-Fi at the area, we're taking our tablets. We help people, show them how to sign on, scan the code, sign on, register to vote, request their advance ballot, and they're done. So even if if they want a paper ballot, we're handing them out and telling them they have to mail them back their own selves, which is, at the naturalization ceremonies is where that really hurts the most. But we do have a form in each new citizen's packet. We got that done with the courts this last year, and we're still being able to register with the QR codes. So we don't know when that will change. Any more questions?
all right, we need another big round of applause for her.
Okay, next we're going to move to the membership. I'm going to call up Andrea England and Lake Harvey, our co-chairs, so they can give us a quick update.
The participants are friends, I said, well, yeah. And so they rush here.
Elena's our numbers person, so she's got she's like a steel trap with all of it, the numbers of everybody who's registered. And so, for membership, we've got, you just said 194 members as of today. We have a couple different ways to sign up for membership. We've got our, we've got this, no, not this. We've got a paper one that you can fill out, but we also, which we'll be seeing, Cindy talked about the website. We have our website up, and we're actually going to be doing a demonstration of that a little bit later on. And you can register online through the website, you can pay through the website, and it will remind you when you need to be renewed, and it's going to be really awesome. So, Elaine, you want
We got an email on May 27th. Please go back and look at your email if you haven't registered on our new website. there's a place to put your interest in. And we really would like to see your interest. We put our interest survey up later, so it's our fault really, that you haven't seen it. But if you haven't gone to the website, look back in the May 27th part of your memory, and you'll find it. We normally meet as a committee on the fourth Tuesday of each month. I'm not sure if we're meeting tomorrow or not. Maybe not. We'll work that out. But we will take money in cash, by check, through the website. We'd like you to go to the website so you can fill out the interest forms. I haven't, right now tonight, I have 2 checks and some cash, which I will have to our treasurer, Sharon. Sharon will hand me the interest forms. And we are so excited that we are sitting at 194 members. That is if all of us renew. It's okay to renew tonight, it's okay to renew tomorrow.
Absolutely. So, does anybody have any questions about membership?
Thank you for those of you who decided to register as sustaining members. We would not like to break the bank for people. Our dues are $65. If that number does not work for you, but you would like to be active with us as a voter education and promotion group, send us a note and we probably can make a deal.
Let's make it deal.
We do have like some scholarship funds available, so yeah, don't let money hold you back from participating in the league if that's an issue. So if nobody else has any questions, I'll turn it back up to the Ben. No one wants us, but they'll have to.
If that is, the scholarship is an option, do you have that notated on the website so that everybody knows that can attend these meetings?
I have to look. You can register as there's a line that's kind of, but I can't think of the word.
Yeah.
It doesn't say scholarship, it says supported or something or other.
Support funds.
Oh, like that. And so that, yeah, you can just do this directly, because once again, we want workers. And we are workers, ask Kara.
Yeah, we never want dues ever to be a barrier to having members. That will never be a barrier for legal members. We make sure of that. So, we're adamant that as part of diversity, equity, inclusive, we want to be inclusive of everyone. So, we have members who, force their way to vote and exactly what they do for this organization. It isn't about the money that you put into the pot. So that's not where we are. So, thank you to Elaine and Andrea for all of their hard work. We're going to go ahead and introduce our guest speaker. I'm quite honored that I get to introduce her this evening. She is my county commissioner. I serve on her Citizens Advisory Board. In her first year, am I right? I know.
Second.
I was thinking about this earlier today and I thought, is that right? No, that doesn't seem right. It probably seems like an eternity, but we're thrilled that she's here to present and speak with us tonight. Keep in mind when we're thinking about her presentation about where it is that she is in our local government. She is at the county level. So as we contemplate, and she'll be happy to take our questions about issues, these are ones that are going on in our backyard. I know people want to ask questions. The forefront of everyone's mind right now is about the repeal of Roe v. Wade. What does that have to do with the county commission? Well, I'll tell you what it has to do with the county commission. Sarah's a major advocate when it comes to mental health. And if you think our mental health isn't going to be in jeopardy over all of this mess, think again. So she's going to want to talk about that, and we welcome to hear her words. By all means, think and come up with some great questions for her. I've known her husband since, should I tell him? Oh, let's see, how many years?
Well, he's 45, so.
Oh, no, not quite, about 35 years, about 35 years. His mother and I were besties.
Aw.
We were besties for a number of years. She got me through some times that, good grief, love her and miss her with all my heart. Lost her to breast cancer. And miss her so very dearly. Still sits on my bedside table. So, as does a picture with him and his mom. So, I'm fortunate to have both of these individuals in my life, and I hope that you'll welcome them to this evening.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing tonight? My name is Sarah Lopez. I have the honor of serving as the second district county commissioner. So that's the southwest part of the county, so southwest Shawnee-Gatesville, Clearwater, it's a rural area. I love the south side. My kids go to Gatesville schools. It's kind of a hidden gem, and so I'm really excited to be in that space. I want to thank Mark for inviting me to speak tonight, and I thank all of you for coming tonight. And on top of that, I see you guys at every event I've ever had. So I want you to know how much it means to us knowing that there are people out there really helping to push voter registration, because we all know how important that is, especially on a local level. I mean, we really are impacting people's lives so much more than the national level on a day-to-day basis. And so it's really important to get that information out to just everyday people, and so they understand the impacts that we have and the decisions that we have in their lives. And so I'm really appreciative of all the work that you guys are doing to get those messages out. But I'll just give you a quick update on some stuff that's going on in the county. Mental health obviously is our #1 priority. It's been our #1 priority for years. That was way before I got there, so I can't say that I was started that, but I will say that I'm a huge supporter in making sure that we are able to adequately provide mental health care to everybody in our community, and especially focused on those underinsured and uninsured citizens that we have, because we have insurance and more than likely have a path to get that help where others don't. So it is really important that we take that into consideration. I mean, ComCare is an amazing group. They do so many things, but they can only do so much. Our staffing is at critical levels. We have about 50% staffing, and we are trying to do anything that we can to improve that. That's as far as pay goes. We're really significantly bumping up their pay going into next year, but we're also looking at how can we build the pipeline. What can we do? And we've seen STEM in education as early as elementary, and now we see kids that are growing up so excited to do these different things. Well, how can we get the same kind of concept into our elementary schools when it comes to health? Whether that's physical health or mental health. I'm really excited. Exploration Place just opened their new exhibit called Health Inside Out. I'm on their board, so I'll just throw that out there. But I am very excited about it because we get to see little kids going through this exhibit and seeing what it's like, not just to be a doctor, because everybody knows what a doctor does, but to be paramedic and to think about mental health. I mean, there's a roller coaster about emotions there that you can see, help name emotions and all of that. So it's really an exciting thing, but it's a great concept to put that in front of kids at such a young age. When we do talk about mental health in the county, there's a lot of confusion, I think, because there's so many different ideas that are swirling around as far as a mental health regional hospital or a social service hub or any of those things. So I want to just explain kind of what the county's piece of that is and just give a better idea of where we're at kind of as a whole and the other stuff. So number one, the county's piece is ComCare. I mean, that's really what we're over. That's what we have. That's what we get in control, and so we're looking at a new crisis center. We need a new crisis center. We have $15 million in our CIP budget to build a new ComCare crisis center, but we want to make sure that it goes in the right spot. So we're not putting it somewhere and then 6 months later, like, oh man, we should have waited and found out what this group was doing. And so that's kind of where we're at with that. We have the money to build it. We're just trying to make sure that we get it in the right spot. There's also something called the Health Science Center that's coming up, and that's WSU and KU are coming together to build a health science center downtown, most likely, and it's just going to have the large educational component looking at health. And so we've really been asking them and pushing them to include a mental health piece to that and not just think about physical health, because we can build all of the stuff. It would be awesome. These buildings would be great, but if we don't have the staff, so we're really trying to push that piece with it. And then what we would like to do is put our home care crisis center with that. So that way, if we're struggling with staffing, well, then we have all these students that are going through that can use clinical hours anyway, that we can just have them work in our home care crisis center. They get that educational component, they get the clinical piece, and then we get help with staffing, and that's it's a hard thing to staff as it is. There's another thing that we've been working on in the county for a long time, which is the mental health like a regional hospital. So we went a long time where there were more hospitals, and then the legislators decided that people should stay in their communities and not go to like a state hospital. We've learned since that that's just not working. And so now we have 2 mental health hospitals in the state of Kansas. They're both long drives for all of us, so it's hard to get patients there, and they're always completely full. So what are you supposed to do? Have someone wait weeks before they can get it, if they need it in a few weeks? So we've been pushing with the state to get a new facility made in our region. It doesn't necessarily have to be in Central County, but we are the largest population, so it makes the most sense to have it in Central County. And so we're pushing that. It's been on our legislative platform for years. I'm really excited because the state put in their budget $15 million annually going forward. So that is going to start happening. So that's the closest we've ever been to actually getting this facility built. But what we need now is $15 million is not going to build a brand new facility, especially in today's time. So we put in a spark request for $40 million, and that would build the facility, be a 50-bed space, and so hopefully we get that. But we've been talking to the people on the Spark Committee and just letting them know that even if you give us $25 million and we can use the $15 million that's from the annual budget and make up that difference, I know it's a priority to them. I can't say that we will absolutely get it, but even if we don't get it, we have ideas on what we can do to utilize bed space right now that's not being utilized because of staffing shortages or whatever the case is. So I do think we're the closest today as we've ever been, which is really exciting because it is so incredibly needed. And then the last piece people have talked a lot about is like a social service hub. So you might hear people talk about San Antonio. They have a really great model called Haven for Hope. And we would love to replicate something like that in Central County. Haven for Hope, they were very fortunate. They had one huge donor that was able to jumpstart that and get it going. We don't have that. So it would have to be something different, but we would love to do a model similar to that. That is not something that the county is going to be able to spearhead by any means. So that's when we really have to do a good job of creating those partnerships with our business community, with our nonprofits, with our education, and look at what is it that we need, what's going to make the biggest impact, and go from there. So we're hopeful that we'll get a lot of this going. I mean, it is our #1 priority, and it has been for a little while, but I think if anything, COVID has really helped us have these conversations because, I mean, there's always been a stigma around mental health and seeking the care that you need, but everybody at this point, if they haven't struggled themselves with everything going on with COVID and everything else, they know something has. So it has made it a little bit easier. I think the stigma is significantly dropped, and so if we don't capitalize on this time now, then we're just crazy. So we are doing everything we can to make sure that we're pushing this initiative forward, and that really every day that we don't do something, the problem gets worse. So that's kind of where we're at. So that's mental health in a nutshell. But of course, if you guys have any questions, I will answer them now or at another time. Let's see, the budget. We're in the middle of the budget process right now. We're going to adopt the final budget. I think it's August 24th, so there'll be a public hearing for that. You guys are more than welcome to come and listen or give us your opinions on what you think we should be spending, taxpayer money on. I will say, going into the budget cycle, our #1 priority has to be our staff. I'm just going to be pretty honest with you. We've had a commission for a long time that didn't prioritize the people who run our organization, and we are seeing huge workforce shortages. I know a lot of people are in different areas, but we're paying people so below market right now. It's really unbelievable that we still have staff. And so we are doing a huge pay adjustment, and we're going to steps for some departments, and we're really just wanting to make sure that our staff knows that they're valued and that we see the work that they're doing. And, it's really unfortunate right now because we are so short-staffed, we're having to close some of our departments anyway. So it's either we make staff our number one priority or we start cutting services. And every service that we cut has a name attached to it that's receiving help from them. So how do you decide who's more important than someone else? And so it's a really hard time at the county just because we're having to figure out how do we retain the staff that we have and how do we get people to want to work for us when they're coming in so low and they go across the street to Target and make more than what we're asking them to do. And what we ask them to do is stressful, it's hard, both physically and mentally. And so we have a lot of work to do. This problem wasn't created overnight. It took decades to get to where we are. We're going to make significant changes going into next year, but it's going to be a multiple year process, unfortunately. But I think we're taking the right steps. And thankfully, all the commissioners are on board with it being our number one priority. So I don't think it's going to be an issue to pass a pretty good raise for everybody. And like I said, for some people that could potentially be 8% going into next year. For some people, it can be up to 20, 25%, depending on where they are with market. So unprecedented as far as, well, a lot of organizations, but especially for government. So that's kind of where we're at with the budget right now. We had some successes with our legislators this past session. We didn't ask for a lot of bill changes, which is normally what we would do. We asked for a lot of money this time. And so one was for mental health, which we got passed, the $15 million in the budget. There was also $10 million that was passed for the 988 suicide number that's gonna go out. Unfortunately, they haven't passed all the bills that need to happen for that yet. So we're gonna be pushing that pretty hard next session. And then next year as well, we're gonna be looking at, we created a task force after CJ Lofton passed away. And a lot of the stuff that, the recommendations that came from that were state level recommendations. So next year I'm gonna take, I'm gonna be able to speak as much as I can and try to really learn the ropes of lobbying for our issues, and I'm gonna be pushing for those recommendations to get state practices and policies changed, because our systems failed this child way before, he was in our custody that evening, way before that night. We have a lot of room for improvement there. They did give us their recommendations, their final recommendations. We had about 14 that touched the county that had a budgetary cost associated with them. I'm really proud to say that the county has taken this very seriously, and we have either completely passed or in the middle of updating 9 out of those 14, and we're spending a few $1 million on that. We do have some that unfortunately right now we just can't do. If it was just a budgetary thing, we would do it, but it's adding staff, and when our comp care is 50% already, opening up 8 more positions that won't necessarily get filled doesn't help. So we really need to look at our comp care system the way it is today and see what makes the most sense going forward. How can we bring it up more to the times that we're in and making sure that we're doing things better? How can we be more innovative in certain ways? And so that's where we're at along with the task force recommendations. We will be having an on-bond meeting soon with the city so we can talk about the recommendations that the city got. And then that way we're not duplicating any services, because some of the stuff they gave the city has to do with social workers as well. And so we don't want to both be trying to do the same things and then stepping on each other's toes. If we can do something together, it's more effective and it's more efficient with our funding that we have, since it's so limited. But that's kind of just in a nutshell where we're at today with the county. But if you guys have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
What about elections?
Can you give me a better?
Well, I mean,
narrow it down a little bit.
what are we gonna? Are we gonna have enough drop boxes? Or are we gonna have enough, places to vote? Or how do you see that?
So the state's really tried to have us remove all the drop boxes and a bunch of other stuff. It doesn't look like any of that actually passed, and ones that they were vetoed, thankfully. So there's not going to be significant changes going into this next year. I don't know if that will change. If they'll try it again. I don't know what that'll look like, but yeah, we're paying close attention to that, because it obviously affects us pretty closely since we run the elections, and but as of right now.
Is the office fully staffed?
For elections?
Office?
It is fully staffed. Elections is one that they don't have a ton of staff, so it's easier to staff. Now, when it comes to election time, we're gonna have to hire a lot of, right, absolutely, but right now we're.
They need poll workers like crazy.
Oh, we'll always be more forward, so if you want to do that, please do.
Do you see, there's a lot of, you know, you're short of staff and there's not people to hire. With the unemployment rate being so low, do you see a lot of women out of the workforce because of childcare or whatever reasons after COVID? I mean, did that create a?
I'm not seeing that necessarily at the county. It might be happening more than I am seeing it, you know, firsthand, but I don't know if I can answer that question correctly. That's exactly wrong.
It's such a mushroom thing.
I will say that one thing that I'm really working on pretty significantly is how can we do better with DEI initiatives within the county. It's not something that the county, we don't have a department focused on DEI, we've never really made that a priority. After the George Floyd murder, we put money aside and opened a position for a DEI person. It took a couple of years, I don't know, it was before my time, I'm not sure why exactly it took so long to fill, but now what we're doing is we have hired a law firm called Hicks Carter Hicks. They focus on DEI initiatives, and so they're looking at our policies, our hiring procedures, our social medias, you know, all of the whole spectrum of things, so we can see where we're at today and what we can do going forward. So we're in the process of surveying our staff now, but I really think when we look at how much we're struggling with our workforce, if we can get into communities who might not otherwise have ever thought for working for government, right? And how can we get in there and get them to be excited, but also want to work for us? I mean, we have great benefits. You know, once we get our pay a little bit better, that'll be hopefully something that'll intrigue people to come in. We have sign-on bonuses right now. I mean, there's all kinds of things that we're doing, but DEI is going to be significant, I think, going forward, and what we're trying to accomplish. And so I'm hoping that'll be a big push in the right direction.
You were talking about beds. I'm just curious as to how many beds there are allotted for teenagers and young adults in this county.
Well, we have the one mental health hospital that's for minors right now, but I don't know exactly how many beds they have, but I know they are always full. I mean, there's never an opening. Well, when there's an opening, it's limited, but they are always full.
6 years ago, I drove with one of my friends to Topeka because her daughter was cutting herself, and the nearest bed they could find was Topeka. And there used to be, I guess that was a for-profit hospital out on the east side of Wichita, over near the I-35 interchange over there, and it, you know, it shut down. What was the name of that? Shepherd. It's Good Shepherd. It's still there. No, that's not the one. It was.
On 21st Street?
They used to have a commercial on TV. Please seek help. If you can't, you know, if you can't go to so-and-so, go there, somewhere else. I mean, there used to be hospitals operating, and a lot of them took in kids. And to me, we've got a special problem with kids because you get into suicide, you get into mental health, and if you don't do something for them there, you've got them in jail later.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a full continuum of care, especially, I mean, when you have mental health issues as a child and it's not addressed, when you grow into an adult, how can you be expected to function if you never receive that help? So there's a lot of room for improvement at every level when it comes to mental health.
So is that the hospitals that have to fund that, or ABC? How did
KBC is the youth mental health hospital in Wichita now, but they're always full. But St. Joe has beds for mental health, for both adults and youth, but they too are always full. If someone needs a bed there, they could be waiting in the ER for 2 or 3, 4 or 5 days before there's even space. So there is a significant need right now that's not able to be addressed, and so we have to do something to figure it out.
I have a question for you. I'm curious. One of our members pointed out, and we were actually already aware of it, that
they came to the election, the mail-in, requesting an advance ballot, the mail-in ballot application. On it with, to request one, the only options that you could check is either Republican or Democrat. And as we are so drastically and seriously trying to explain to people, you do not have to be one of those two parties to vote in a special election. So we brought this to the election commissioner's attention. She assured us that if they left it blank and they would receive a ballot, an advance ballot. I went out and looked the other day. It now says libertarian and unaffiliated as well.
So when we had a conversation, because we did have that conversation in staff meeting, we were told the same thing, that if you left it blank, you would receive something, but, the form itself is a state form, so the county's not able to make that, any of the changes we wanna see, but I'm glad that she was able to get that done at a state level, because it is confusing, which probably, yeah.
Well, they can vote on the yes, no, that's the point. Before your term there was controversy that the commission was not wanting to have WIC services, Women, Infants, and Children services for immigrants who were not documented. Has that been solved in the current county?
Well, that's a good question. Nothing's been changed to WIC over the last handful of years as far as that goes. If anything, we're looking at how can we expand some of those services. I mean, we saw with COVID that more people than ever really are using those, utilizing those services. So we're looking at what if anything we can do to expand them. We did get some extra funding for our public health systems through the state, but we have to look at exactly how that can be spent. But I would love to see us utilize some of that for those services because they're desperately needed. And I think, like I said, with COVID, it's only worse.
And we've got new immigrants coming in,
Absolutely.
not just the undocumented, but the ones that are being brought in from Afghanistan and Ukraine, et cetera.
Yeah, absolutely. And if they're living here, then they need to take care of them.
The hospital that is being proposed to develop, is it a long-term facility like Long-Term State Hospital or Osawatomie?
It's gonna be 50-50, so 25 will be, 25 beds are gonna be involuntary, 25 are gonna be voluntary, and then we're gonna do it, will be a range of all of them. So short term for some, but we're gonna look at how can we utilize ComCare a little bit better to work with them, and then long term for others, because obviously we have a really big need for long term beds that we just don't have right now at all.
Yeah. So the next question is this going to be contracted out to a private company to manage, or is this going to be like a county or city or state run facility?
Sure, so I will answer that as best as I can. The other two are state-run facilities, and I believe how that works is they're contracted through a third party, and that's who's actually running those. We have requested the Spark money just because we want people to know it's so important to us that we have this, but we as a county cannot take this up. We do not have the staff, we do not have the resources to add a hospital. So we will get the building built with the Spark funds, and then we will basically turn it over to the state and have them run it the way they would run any other state-run facility.
A reminder that you have to be 16, only 16 to work as a poll worker, and this is gonna be schools out. I mean, all these 16-year-olds can do this, so talk to them about being a poll worker. It just takes 16 and above, y'all.
Yes.
Will the anti-tax people be out in force when you have your budget hearings? Can we pay for these things without raising taxes, or will we want to wisely raise taxes?
I'm sure we'll get every kind of opinion on this. I don't think there's ever time where we don't, but we're not looking at raising taxes right now. We've been able to really utilize some of these federal dollars that have come down to kind of shore us up in spaces that otherwise we wouldn't have, and we would be having to look at raising taxes, especially when we're trying to keep up pay as significant as we are. As of this year, we are not looking at raising taxes.
How
do you stay focused?
I have a calendar that I write, my to-dos on every week, and then I try to go through it, and if I get something done, I go to the next, but it's a lot.
I can't imagine.
We have a lot of great staff, that keeps us going. I mean, the county is so fortunate to have the staff that we have. I mean, it's quite unbelievable, the group that we have to work with, and I feel very fortunate that I get to learn from, some of the best in our community, and we're just really fortunate to have them, so they keep us on track pretty well.
Talk to us a little bit about being a woman on the county commission that was so predominantly male.
And a Democrat.
It's hard. Being a woman, being a minority woman is very challenging. There are just conversations that, I don't think people necessarily are trying to be mean or say things that are inappropriate. I mean, I really don't think that that's what's in their heart. But there are comments that are made that are inappropriate, and it's all about finding the right balance of when you correct and when isn't hurt. So finding, knowing that I have ambitions to get a lot of DEI work done means that maybe I have to let some of the comments go, and then we can address them as we're going through this process, and not necessarily in the one-on-one, because I don't want to close minds, and I don't want to be that woman who always points something out and then people are afraid to talk to me. So I see my position really as building relationships with people that I don't always agree with, and that's not always an easy thing to do, but if I'm nitpicking everything that's being done, then that goes against what, the big picture is that I'm trying to do, but it's not always easy. You go into a room and you're the only woman or one of the only women, people will shake everybody's hand, but they'll forget yours. Or we'll be in a meeting and they'll be looking directly at my male colleagues without glancing over my way. So I mean, it's an everyday occurrence, and it's extremely frustrating. But I do think, I see the light at the end of the tunnel. We have so many women that are starting to get involved and wanting to run for office that I think that we'll go through this now, but I don't think it'll last forever, hopefully. And then hopefully with some of these DEI issues, I'm trying to push that, that'll significantly change as well. All right, well, thank you.
So we want to thank you for joining us this evening. I brought you a nice little guest all the way from Denver. That was our national convention in a card. And just in case you didn't realize, our mission, our motto is empowering voters, defending democracy. And we feel like you do that every day on the county commission level. So we're grateful for your being here, and we look forward to watching your future with the commission and beyond. So,
Sounds good.
and you probably did that before, but it's good and beyond. Yeah, I know it's all right, so we are going to turn our presentation over to Andrea England, who is going to talk about our new website. As Cindy gave us a little prelude, it's more than just a website. The front end and the back end, and I'm so glad I have such knowledgeable people in my midst because they keep me honest. I tell you, tech is not my thing. It's my friend, but it's not my thing. So I'm going to turn it over to Andrea and let her kind of give you all the demonstration.
Well, I want to really thank the communications team because they did a tremendous job, like organizing the website. It was about over a year process to get everything done. So I really appreciate them and everything that they did. Britton, who couldn't be here today, is actually the one who put this presentation together, so I'm kind of pinch hitting for her. So, like we said, Club Express is the, basically it's the platform that we're using for the website. And everybody, like Lynn said earlier, should have gotten a email that had like a login and a password for you. And So yeah, so Club Express is our website, it's got more perks, we've got the easy renewals, it also has a membership directory, so you can log in. You have to be a member, obviously, to get in, but once you get in there, you can see member profiles, so you can, and you can update your profile. If you want your phone number in there, you can put that in there, if you want your email, you can put that in there. It also has an event calendar, and then we've got other things, that we're gonna be just rolling out kind of as we get more of this under our belts. So yes, we got this email, this is kind of what it looks like, it actually has that little gray box around it. So, like Elaine said, if you wanna go back and find that, you can go back in your emails, find it. If you need, help, you can reach out and ask us as well. But it has a link to the new website and it has a temporary login information. And then once you get into the site, then you can change it, your password to something that you might remember. So this is going to show you kind of where you log in. So you go to LWV-WM.org. Up in the very upper right hand corner, you see where it says member login. That's where you would click in. And if you aren't a member yet, you can click join today, and then that's where it will take you through that process. So for members, we're going to click on the member login right there, and then it's going to ask you for your username and your password. And again, it's got the function to, I forgot my username and I forgot my password, it's going to be able to send that to you if you can't find that email. So once you do that, you can log in. And from there, you can, like we said, change your username and password, kind of whatever you want. There are some rules, there's always rules for passwords, and so it's got the uppercase, lowercase numbers, special characters. So you can see like up in the right hand corner, now it's changed to Martha, we've logged in as Martha. And so now it has like her, it will actually be like you're logged in into your account. There's some terms of service that you have to agree to, and the important thing here is if you opt out of emails, you're not going to get the voter, event notices, updates, things like that. It kind of opts you out of everything. So think long and hard before you decide to do that, because we really would love to keep you updated about everything that the league is doing. So now you're logged in, you can proceed to renewal. And right now is the time that most people will be getting like the renewal notices because it's June. So you can click, yes, I want to renew, and then you can go and kind of go through the process here. Your total will change automatically if you change your membership type. So if you want to be a sustaining member, that's going to be a certain amount. If you want to just be a regular member, if you're a student member, we do have students actually can join for free. So we're encouraging young people to join. And so yeah, so you can choose your membership type and then kind of go through the information. Make sure that all your personal information is correct. Then you can finish and proceed to payment. And you can pay a couple of different ways. And this is a little confusing. We actually had somebody like log in today and email us about this, because you can pay online. You can do PayPal, you can do check, but we obviously want to encourage people to use the website. PayPal, if you click that, you don't have to have an actual PayPal account. It will run it like a regular debit card or a credit card, but you have to click that in order to start that process. So the question that we had today was, I don't have a PayPal account, but I want to use my card. And so we just had to direct them to do that. Scroll down, yeah, because it'll pull up, but it'll still say PayPal when you click that button, and you scroll down just a little bit, it'll be like, oh, or do you want to use your debit or credit card? So once you do that, you can also pay later. So for instance, maybe you're not comfortable paying online, you want to hand Elaine cash or check, you're more than welcome to do that. So you know, we'll take it however you want to give it to us. But
It's better to have the share now.
So then you can click, if you click through to PayPal, then you'll start the process of filling out all your information. How do you want to pay, if it's a check, if it's PayPal. You can print an invoice if you wanted to do that. But basically, once you go through this process, then you're done. And that's it.
I have a comment.
Yes.
I hope everybody realizes that PayPal is convenient, but not all of your money is coming to us. For the $10 that you paid, some of it, for example, we didn't get $10. When you pay $65, we don't get $65. They take a couple of bucks. So when you pay through PayPal, the league is not getting all your money. It's not a big deal, but if we're figuring budget, for every member that goes through PayPal, you're losing some money.
Yes, but it's very convenient
But it's
to do.
easy, yeah.
It's easy to do, it's very convenient, and so we do, that's kind of our preferred method, but you know, we're not gonna like, if you wanna like kick in a few extra bucks, nobody's gonna, be sad about that, so, and if, yeah, but if you have any questions or anything, let us know. Does anybody have any questions kind of about what we've seen tonight? Yes.
I'm just wondering, as you go further with this, like on the events, would there be places where you can sign up to volunteer for particular events?
To sign up for particular events, that's a good question, and
We haven't added, it hasn't been added yet, the volunteer. That's the next phase. Right now,
That'd be
we'll
really
use the volunteers, we're using the volunteers sign up separate thing, but yes, that's, we'll get there.
Yeah, this has been a major undertaking for our community to take everything off of what was on our website, plus add all of this about the membership. So it's coming in phases. There's a lot. This is like an unbelievable tool for us. There will be ultimately forums for chats, private forums, so that we're not out there on social media blasting our business. Where we can have civil conversations internally. We can do volunteer sign-ups. We can do committee work, all these things, but it has to come in stages just because of, like, we're all volunteers. And most of us have jobs and, so we're so grateful that it's made this extraordinary progress. We just have to take the next steps. So look for the next step. Calendars where all of those events will be, and so you can go to our site and see a calendar with all these wonderful events that are going on, so lots of opportunities to come.
But right now, you can ask the co-presidents questions on the site, and they will get your question. You can ask the membership people, and two of us will get the same question, and you might get two answers.
Yeah, it's really a very convenient tool, and honestly, I honestly cannot, just express my gratitude enough for the communications team and the people that worked on this, and Martha and Beth took over, kind of leading the charge with it for a bit, and then Cindy and Britton did so much incredible work, actually getting the content for it. So I'm gonna ask you all to give them a round of applause, because they were so I would really encourage you to go out to the website, take a look at it, and just see what's out there. I've already been referring people to sign up online and just get on there and see what events and things we have coming up, so.
And if you have any experience in doing any of that type of work and you wanted to add to our committees, we always use the help, and this does run itself. It needs maintenance. So we
411.
Vote 411 is another place we could use help. So there's lots of opportunities to volunteer. This is a volunteer organization. It runs on YouPower. Don't forget. It takes more than dues. So
some of us are observers. I'm not right now, and who watch our county commission, watch our city council, and we will eventually be able to have the reports of our observers on the website so that you can see them in one place. Because now you have to look at the wonderful voter to read them, because we are getting good reports from our observers. And it's budget time, so we all should be observers.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all very much. I'll turn it back over.
I think it's Beth and Martha, right? I'm just looking in the room, I have a tap, she's a tap for you. There's a little bit, so as we shift back over.
We pretend like you're going live and say hello.
Hello, welcome to the Legal Vote.
Have you not seen this face before?
I heard all kinds, you probably know.
That's a difference too.
Yeah, most people are like.
So in case y'all didn't realize, Kate Hands, our action advocacy chair, and during COVID, when we weren't able to meet in person, Kate was our face. And she was the one that had these awesome conversations with some really great guests and carried that ball so well. We appreciated it so much, and she's just a star. We love her. So this brings us to our business portion of our meeting. It's going to be pretty short and sweet. Only a couple things really to vote on this year. Do we have the budget? Can we do that first?
Yes.
And I apologize, we didn't put it up on a pretty PowerPoint slide, but we only have two things really to vote on this annual meeting. One of them will be our budget, and then the other one will be our nominating slate. You're a roll of breath, Martha. I'm too tired. Oh, convention was wonderful. Convention was in Denver. It started Thursday. It ended yesterday at noon. If you've never attended a national convention on behalf of the legal and voters, y'all need to come. 2 years, it'll be in DC. They alternate years. So every other convention, biennial convention, DC, let's see, it was DC, Chicago, DC, virtual, now in Denver, back to DC. So it'll be DC in 2024. So I brought the sign that was set on our table.
She stole the sign.
I did not. That's great. Now you're legal on the voter side. That's right. Ellen said it. I recycled it. It was an awesome convention. There was a lot of, I'm telling you, we are evolving, folks. We are evolving. There's going to be a lot of changes coming our way. They're pushing a lot of focus, as we are seeing and hearing in everything that's coming out of, Washington, D.C. right now. So much is getting pushed back to the state level to make decisions. Guess what? Our league is doing the same. They are going to be pushing a lot of stuff back to us at the state and local level to be making decisions and to be calling the shots on things. They're going to be pushing a lot of money back to us as well. So look for more to come on that. A lot of very contentious votes. Oh my gosh. You want to talk about, civility? Wow, that was trying. Those were trying times. 5 hours of it on one amendment. One amendment to our bylaws took 5 hours. And they would not let it die. Anyway, it's a done deal, and we're grateful for all the hard work and the effort on behalf of our staff at LWV-WM. They are amazing. What they do and the way they represent us, they're truly amazing people. So,
And they had to come to consensus.
and indeed, and I don't know how many votes it took, and even once it was clearly 2/3, we had to go back and revisit and revisit and fight for us. So anyway, it was a great convention, a lot was accomplished, and I'm so impressed and so proud to work with this group of people at all levels. I'm fortunate that I serve on the state board as a co-president. I served on the national as a SURE fellow. I can't say enough positive about this organization. I mean, I'm not just waxing on. I love them. I love what they believe in and nonpartisanship. It's not just we say it, we show it, we live it. And when people start recommending this party and that party, and I don't comment, and they look oddly at me, and it's like, I belong to the legal and voters. Okay, so anyway, for me, it's not about bipartisan. We've experienced that in our redistricting committee this last go around at the county level. We are not bipartisan. We are nonpartisan. So just a reminder. So I think one of our county commissioners needed to be reminded of that. Not Sarah, but they wanted us to name some of our Democratic members and some of our Republican members, and I was like,
good luck with that, because I have no clue who is of any party, so, anyway, the budget that is before you is will be the budget for 22